African and African jazz playing in the new sort of virtual format from their living rooms or their sort of home recording studios. Then you had, people such as Angélique Kidjo. You had Cécile McLaurin-Salvant. I think she was in Paris. And you had, of course, the inimitable Tony Hancock. Herbie Hancock playing from the US, and Stevie Wonder. It was really an incredible virtual coming together of some of the best musicians around the world, trying to kind of cheer people up and mobilize people at the same time, and bring some beautiful sounds into our lives at a very much needed time.
How about the schools? Are they opening in South Africa?
Not yet. So the varsities, they've started classes virtually. Students who can't afford laptops have been given laptops on loan. And there's been a bit of controversy, around the issue, but they seem to be doing well. They've partnered with some of the cell phone network providers like MTN, Vodacom, and I think Cell C. So what they do is that they give, the students a data package for use during peak hours and as well as after hours or non-peak hours. And the peak allocation is 10 gigs per student, and off-peak is 20 gigabytes per student. They're also using, their respective internal, systems where they communicate with. They're going virtual basically, and they're trying as much as possible, to complete whatever's left of the academic year. In terms of schools, there's a phased approach to reopening schools, but the biggest union in the public schooling sector, the SA Democratic Teachers Union, which is affiliated to COSATU and the ANC by implication, has said that it doesn't foresee the reopening of schools unless there's a credible plan on the table. And the Basic Education Minister, Angie Motshekga, has come under fire from public sector unions as well for the phased approach to reopening schools. But in terms of, lower levels such as creche or preschool, they're conducting their business via Zoom. There's also an app called D6 Communicator. They use that to send homework to parents, as well as some, activities and exercises for children just to keep them going. There are meetings that are scheduled to take place in coming weeks to see how they can proceed, with the school year. The big problem for them is grade 12, which is matric. It's the last year of school in South Africa, and how that's going to play out, because usually, there's an end of year exam period where they write their final subjects, and then they get the opportunity to go to university depending on how they've done in grade 12. So that's the big poser, I suppose, for the lower or basic education department at the moment.
And how about the schools in Nigeria, Tofe?
Schools are still shut, and there hasn't really been any indication as to when they're going to open. In theory, schools are going ahead online, but it's mostly private schools that are doing that with people that have access to laptops and internet. It seems that most people are just not in school, which obviously brings problems with what are kids actually doing in this time, and parents that have to just look after kids without them having anything to do. It must be quite difficult, which is why the Kaduna style of doing it over the radio seems good, but they did that only for, as Teresa said, we call them SS3 students, the senior secondary school students that are going to take their exams to go to university. They're the only ones that are doing lessons via radio. But it seems that is kind of the most successful way to do things right now. But yeah, most students are just not in school at the moment, and we don't know when they're going to reopen.
Thanks to Olisa, Tofe, Morris and Patrick. Please do rate and review us wherever you get your podcasts, and come say hi on Facebook and Twitter. And to keep up to date with all our coverage, head to theafricareport.com and sign up to our daily briefing. I'm Nicholas Norbrook. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, it is different, isn't it? It's much easier when you're in a studio and you can see everyone's faces too.
Yeah.
Oh, Nicholas, actually, there is something I just remembered now. So, you know, our parliament is holding committee meetings virtually, right? Yeah. And one of the committees was hacked as they were proceeding with the meeting live, and their screens were populated with porn.
Wow.
Did they turn it off in horror or say, well, actually, we've got something else to do now?
I do believe that I saw some humour on social media about that, but not much of it can be shared, sadly.
No.